is still emerging. We need the next generation of talent to understand what does space technology actually mean for us. Let me go into a little bit more detail about why it's happening now. What's exciting? What's different now? Commercial space companies are entering the space race. Space was previously the domain of governments, government-funded missions. But with the rise of SpaceX, with commercial satellite companies like Spire, Satellogic, Planet, plenty of others have entered the fray. What this means is the cost of technology is decreasing. There's more participants. Launch into space is becoming cheaper. Technology is becoming far more sophisticated. The cost of data is falling. All of these things means that our access to space is becoming democratized. You and I can actually play in space. And I don't mean launch a rocket and go into the far reaches of space, but I actually mean use space data for a number of different things. And the data that I'm talking about can be used for agriculture to protect food security. It can be used in mining. It can be used in climate change. It can be used in conservation of planetary protection. Plenty of different applications that we can use space technology for. And so my focus is not so much going into space as it is on staying on Earth and using space technology to the benefit of all. Who benefits? Every single one of us here has the potential to benefit from space, from being involved in space, and using space data, space technologies. There are new emerging business models that I would like you to be aware of and take advantage of. We engage at Amazon Web Services. I have the privilege of engaging lots of different kinds of customers. They range from governments to startups to universities, people who are learning about space brand new for the first time, to agencies that have utilized space for a long time, but are sitting on old technology. What we help them do is refresh that technology, create understanding about how much to do more with less or faster, more secure, more accessible. So global programs are truly global and not locked into one country or one company. Enabling the next generation of space builders. All these different trends are enabling how we change our lives here today on Earth. Space technology can be used to support agriculture, to support our farmers, to ensure our food security. It is very often used for defense and national security. There's plenty of surveillance work that's being done to stop illegal fishing, illegal mining, forestry. All of these things can be done using space technology. Earth observation plays a critical role in how we look at the changing temperature, climate, weather patterns. 50% of essential climate change variables, so these are the variables that are used to track climate change, can only be measured from space. So space plays a very critical role in how we look after our environment, how we're shaping sustainability practices. And finally, space technology can be used to build smarter cities, more constraints without emissions, checking our carbon neutral footprint. All of these things contribute for a really innovative new way of working. This is the only technical slide I'm going to show you, because what we do at Amazon, what I do at Amazon, is basically help companies look at how they use cloud to enable every sector of the space value life chain. So whether you're designing a rocket or a satellite, if you're launching it, we can help you do that. The interesting part is not always the build and launch of rockets and satellites, it's actually picking up the data that is in space, processing that data downstream to create insights, which then you can impact lots of different sectors of society with. I'll give you a couple of examples, because it's very, I guess if you're not involved in the sector, it might be difficult for you to put your hands around what is she actually talking about. I have a company in Australia that was literally came into emergence about 2 years ago. Fireball International is now called EXI. You can look them up on Google if you want. We had really bad bushfires in Australia in late November to December 20 period. This company designed a system using space technology, sensors on the ground, to create a system that would inform authorities within three minutes of smoke detection that a fire was about to start. This kind of technology is critical because it's using things like IoT, sensors, data analytics, satellite images, literally to save lives. We can evacuate people, animals, protect lives and property in a way that wasn't able to be done before. So this is one simple example of an emerging new space company which previously didn't exist because we didn't know how to stitch all these satellite and space technology parts to come together, one, to build an enterprise, but two, to impact society in a meaningful way. Second example, this is a global company, Capella Space, also relatively new. A lot of new funding is flowing from the VC community, supporting new space companies to do things just like this, to map traffic patterns, digital models of cities. So if you're building a smart city, what does it take? Where does satellite imaging play a role in it? Outside of the day-to-day earthly activities that space supports, there is, of course, deep space exploration. So I talk a lot to children at schools and universities how we use software to control a rover that's moving around on Mars. It's remote, it's automation, it's robotics, it's machine learning, it's artificial intelligence. All of this is actually possible for us to learn right now. And I'm going to leave you towards the end with some learning actions if you're interested in picking up some of the skills to get involved in the space community. The space community is very much a software community at the end of the day. So if you have any experience in data analytics, data processing, handling algorithms, if you're familiar with machine learning, then space is a sector that you can readily get involved in. I also want to mention that, Chad, we have activity right here in Thailand. I always feel like I need to mention when I'm visiting a country who are the customers or partners that we're working with here. And so here in Thailand, we're working with Thaicom, we're working with MuSpace. There's a lot of different emerging companies that are actively becoming involved in space and satellite. Finally, these are the kind of images, continental scale images, that can help us monitor climate change, that can help us predict when famine or flooding, fire is about to occur. We have the means to protect lives and livelihoods by ensuring that we are setting up monitoring systems, notification systems that help us understand how the climate is changing, how weather is changing, and how do we move forward. This is a super technical slide, so I'm not going to gloss too much over it, but what I want you to take away from this slide is, in a software company like Amazon Web Services, I have 280 services that I stitch together to form solutions for space and satellite companies. This is something that we teach the companies that we work with to do. We have services like a ground station. A ground station is, you might have seen the satellite dishes. They're receiving, basically it's communication linkages to satellites. Again, previously, you would have needed $500,000 to build a ground station satellite, connect to a satellite. What software companies like Amazon does is allow you to access a service like this on a pay-per-minute basis. So if you had permission to connect with a satellite today, and there's plenty of public satellites like Copernicus, Sentinel-1, 2 out of ESA, you could connect to that satellite using our service. And it's not expensive. It's $10 a minute for uplink. You pick up the data, you downlink the information over a particular region of the world, a country, some area of interest that you're looking into, and you can use this data to understand more, to define what you want to do in that particular area, whether it's conservation or traffic mapping, or there's a lot of different things that you can do with it. Again, I mentioned this slide is basically just to help you understand the kind of different customers that we're dealing with today. If you have any interest, please don't hesitate to reach out. This is an emerging and growing, fast-growing sector of the global economy. They say that women hold half the sky. I think it's a Chinese saying. I would like to believe that women hold not just half the sky, but space too. We can get there. So I invite you, if you do want to be a part of this new emerging economy, there is a way to do that. We have programs that we're rolling out for women, and you don't have to have any experience. Over a period of weeks, we will teach you software. Software language is not necessarily technical, they're abstract, so if I can learn it, you can learn it. And I should tell you that I'm not an engineer by background, so I learned all this. If I can learn it, I believe you can too. I think it's very exciting. There's a new emerging economy where you have a role to play. I'll leave this on the slide so you can QR code. Check out the programs. They're specifically designed for women. It is not scary. It's not technical. You will be very supported if you wanted to play in this area. I welcome your interest. Thank you so much for listening.
Marnie, as I stated, the depth and texture and the multiplicity of what you deal with, and you just eloquently explained to us really simply and educated us on what you do and the potential that this world has in front of it. My organisation bids for global meetings, and we're bidding for the International Astronautical Conference in 2025. It is hugely competitive because cities want these subject matter experts to come to their cities and develop their space capacity. So I've got a million questions for you. But here we go. We're going to hand over to Irene Natividad. Now, she needs really no introduction. She is our leader here at the Global Summit of Women, that she has run this event for 32 years, every year. Past COVID, obviously, there was a couple of years not able to. Her pioneering research has resulted in 31 reports on women board directors globally over the past 24 years. She is a leader, a mentor to many, and has had significant global impact. Every country that she goes to, she really has an impact on the policy of government, and you are a very courageous leader, and I'm really privileged to know you, Irene. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. So you've heard macroeconomic trends, consumer trends, space trends. I have to tell you, the first time that a member of our planning committee said to me, "You have to have Mani Theroux to talk about space." I said, "Why?" And after Mani talked to me and told me how it's already being used, I said, "You get up there and talk about what we need to know going forward, okay? You may think it's extra. I don't need to know this. You need to know it." Okay, now I want to talk about where are women in terms of corporate leadership, because we should not only look at space, we need